April is right in the middle of real estate's busiest season, but with mortgage rates hitting their highest level in 3 months, just as global tariffs threaten to drive up the costs of building materials, there is a lot of uncertainty in the air. Our Alicia Nieves is here to tell us more about these tariffs and what it means for home prices right now, Alicia.
I mean, having a pretty significant impact on the real estate market and home prices, everything from, sticker shock or the sticker price to the cost of borrowing, right? You look over the last 8 weeks and we have seen interest rates in particular creep up a little bit. 6.8% is where they're at right now, 6.83%. Two factors really contributing to this right now. You look at the Fed, and the Fed fund rate that is connected to the price to borrow and the interest rate that you get from your bank or your lender. The Fed is unable right now to bring rates down because of tariffs. Tariffs have this inflationary pressure, and if you bring rates down, you're going to only increase inflation further, and in the long run, that's going to hurt us. You also have just tariffs creating this uncertain environment and the concern of recessions. We've talked about that for the last 2 weeks or so, and so banks are now having to, factor in that Fed fund rate, a margin for profit, and then an added margin for the increased risk here. If there is possibly one slight upside to tariffs right now when it comes to the real estate market, it's for the buyers at least. You're looking at estimates right now in a forecast for home prices, existing homes, only increasing about 1%. That's a dramatic difference from double digits that we've seen in the last, couple of years here. So the initial sticker price for home prices for home buyers is only 1%. That'll be potentially good.
How are Americans reacting to the uncertainty when it comes to these tariffs and buying a home?
Home purchase, for anyone who's fortunate enough to do it, is going to be probably the biggest purchase you're going to make in your life. To do that during uncertain times brings in a lot of fear. And so you have now surveys showing that about 1 in 4 Americans are saying they're going to hold off or cancel altogether any purchase right now, major purchase like a home or a car, or at the very least 1 in 3 are saying they're going to delay that until there's kind of more certainty, better economic environment right now. But this is especially true for those who are not only looking to buy a home, but build a home, because the prices to build, that has gone up pretty substantially. If contractors are saying that the tariffs have now led to, an average increase of about $7,000 to $10,000 for the price of material, that is excluding lumber from Canada, because that's exempt, and drywall from Mexico. The increase we're seeing in things like, electrical costs, steel, aluminum, home appliances, a lot of home appliances made in China, they're subject to that 100+% tariff, increase there. So on top of this sticker shock for, home builders, for the materials, there's also a concern right now for delays when it comes to actually getting this material. Take a listen.
I don't know if it'll go as high as when COVID was here. I mean, lumber was crazy. We couldn't even get windows for 6 months. And I was doing apartment buildings, so they sat there with no windows for a long time.
Yeah, part of the delay is really around the fact that shipping, lines, those have been kind of canceled because there's a decrease in demand. So the number of routes happening, that's lessened.
And we were talking about this is such a busy time for people to buy homes, but it's also a busy time for people to renovate. It's spring. They're fixing up their backyards. Exactly. They're getting their barbecue grills. What are forecasters saying this could mean for the housing market moving forward, Alicia?
On one hand, we've had a hot housing market for like 5 years, a red hot housing market. This could cool the housing market down a little bit. That might not be a bad thing in the long run. On the other hand, you've just had people who have been either looking to buy a house or in the home market for quite some time. They're used to the inflationary pressures. It's been one thing after another. They just want to buy. So they may buck the concerns altogether here and actually do that, especially if they've prepared well enough for it. And that's what a lot of real estate professionals say. They say prepare. As long as you're financially ready to do this, I said this before, you marry the home, you buy the concern of an interest rate. You date the concern of an interest rate. And if rates come down, which they're expected to eventually, whether it be a year or 2 or 3 years, then you can refinance. So stay the course if you've been preparing for this.
All right. Always great breakdown. Alicia Nieves, thank you. And there's so much more ahead on Morning in America. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.